Aileen Cannon threw out entirely the documents and obstruction case against Donald Trump. It's a case that many believed was the strongest against him, and a decision that is pretty radical. The judge seemingly rejecting decades of precedent, including a Supreme Court opinion on the issue, by determining that the appointment of special counsel Jack Smith is unconstitutional because an official with the kind of sweeping power he's been given by the Attorney General needs to be confirmed by Congress first. Quote, is there a statute in the United States Code that authorizes the appointment of special counsel Smith to conduct this prosecution? After careful study of this seminal issue, the answer is no. None of the statutes cited as legal authority for the appointment gives the Attorney General broad inferior officer appointing power or bestows upon him the right to appoint a federal officer with the kind of prosecutorial power wielded by special counsel Smith. Justice Cannon, citing the Appointments Clause of the Constitution and applying a standard that numerous previous special counsels, including Watergate prosecutor Archibald Cox and Robert Mueller, would not have met. Now, a couple of key points that I think are getting lost in the discussion about this. First, this was a 93-page decision. I mean, this was very meticulous by Judge Cannon, whether you agree with it or you don't, which means she didn't just crank this thing out over the weekend. And yet she's been ongoing and making rulings suggesting she's going to allow certain evidence in and not, but she's been working on this for some time. And I think that's important to note in light of the recent opinion issued by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, the presidential immunity case on July 1st. It sure seems like she took her lead from Thomas, but this is something that's at least been in the works, I would think, since July 1st, maybe before. And something else, this case was not going to happen before the election, all right? Now, Judge Cannon, in the various rulings she was making, made it clear, in effect, that this was on track to begin sometime in 2025, okay? So some are overstating the impact of this decision today because Trump wins the election, the case would have gone away regardless. Now, it seems like the special counsel is likely going to appeal to the 11th Circuit. Jack Smith saying in a statement a short time ago, quote, the dismissal of the case deviates from the uniform conclusion of all previous courts to have considered the issue that the Attorney General is statutorily authorized to appoint a special counsel. The Justice Department has authorized the special counsel to appeal the court's order. Don't forget, this is the same appellate court, a very conservative one, the 11th Circuit, which has already overturned 2 of Judge Cannon's rulings. And I think Judge Cannon likely could be overturned again. We'll see whether the special counsel will try to actually have her removed from the case as well. Joining us now, Attorney Sarah Isgur, former spokesperson for the Department of Justice under President Trump, ABC News contributor and host of the legal podcast Advisory Opinions. Thanks very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. So what do you think happens now?
Look, as you said, this case was never going to trial before the election. It's still not going to. The Justice Department has said they're appealing this. There's also always the option, even if they were to lose that 11th Circuit appeal, that they could simply have the U.S. Attorney down in Florida bring this case with Jack Smith reporting to the U.S. Attorney. No one's questioning the statutory and constitutional authority to do it that way. So either way, look, if Donald Trump wins, we all believe this case will be dismissed. If Donald Trump loses and Joe Biden is reelected, this case is moving forward one way or the other.
But here's why they're not going to do it that way, right? And I heard in particular more in the left-leaning media, they kept sort of pushing the DOJ to try to do that, right? Well, they can just file this anyway, et cetera. That would then belie everything Merrick Garland has said about how and why he appointed a special counsel, which was to be independent because there were conflicts. If he now files that case himself, meaning the Department of Justice, directly under him with a U.S. attorney, I think that he is conceding then that it is no longer independent in any way, shape, or form, and I don't think he can do that.
I always think the independence of the special counsel is a little bit silly. The special counsel reports to the Attorney General. All that this does is really circumvent the chain of command internally about reporting to the Deputy Attorney General, and that if the Attorney General refuses to let the special counsel take a certain investigative step, they have to report that to Congress. But let's be clear, this was never an independent investigation. That's not how special counsels work. And from a policy standpoint, what you'll hear from a lot of previous special counsels is they don't think having special counsels is a great idea to begin with.
Right. But according to Aileen Cannon, the judge here, this was a very independent. It was too independent, is basically what she's saying. If you read her opinion, right? She's saying that this special counsel had too much power on his own.
Right. She's arguing that this special counsel is the equivalent of a U.S. attorney and that a U.S. attorney has to be, advice and consent of the Senate, has to be Senate confirmed. I think there's arguments both ways on this, but as you said, this has a long history in the United States, and the Supreme Court specifically said in U.S. v. Nixon that that the special counsel in that case had the authority to bring this case before the Supreme Court. She dismissed that as dicta, and even in the 11th Circuit, they can say that dicta is still binding on a district judge.
And just so people know, dicta means just like stuff that's in the opinion that isn't central to the ruling. But I think
Sorry,
it's
I'm a lawyer. I have to use Latin.
I know, I get it. This is a terrible decision, I think. But, you think it was pretty bad but not terrible, real quick?
I think it'll get reversed by the 11th Circuit, as you suggest.
All right. Just want to make sure we're in agreement. All right. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.